We're going live right now. I am sorry. I was so into talking about what I was talking about, I forgot to do that. All right, so here we are. We're live right now here at WCRS Radio. We might need to go back and add some of what I was talking about to this video if we can do it, and I'm sure we can. I'll try to get that done. We were talking about Kevin Hines, who was supposed to be on the line with us here this morning. He is a suicide prevention advocate. He is going to be here Tuesday evening. That is tomorrow evening, 6:30 to 8:30 at Landers Abney Cultural Center Auditorium. And this is brought to you by Here for the number 4 a reason and Lander University. It's being sponsored by Landers Wellness Center and the Office of the Dean of Students. And we were talking about his incredible story. It is a very incredible story. If I go back and give you the statistics, you will be blown away. I asked a question: how many people have survived jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge? 35 to 40 people are known to have survived a jump from the Golden Gate Bridge since it opened in 1937. The bridge is unfortunately one of the most well-known suicide locations in the world, with over 1,800 confirmed deaths. Survival is extremely rare because of the 245-foot drop, which leads to an impact speed of around 75 miles per hour when hitting the water, often fatal on impact due to the injuries and drowning. Notably, some survivors, such as Kevin Hines, who jumped in 2000 at age 19, have become mental health advocates and have shared their story. He was 19 in 2000. That was 2 years after being diagnosed with bipolar disorder. He attempted suicide by jumping from the Golden Gate Bridge. He said he had a moment. He instantly felt regret as he fell, realizing immediately, "I don't want to die. God, please save me." And he struck the water in a seated, feet first position to reduce the fatal trauma. However, the fall shattered several vertebrae, T12, L1, L2, and lacerating internal organs. But miraculously, he missed severing his spinal cord by just 2 millimeters. After impact, he was buoyed by a nearby sea lion, which he initially mistook for a shark, keeping him afloat long enough to be rescued by a Coast Guard boat. Once pulled aboard the Coast Guard and rushed to the San Francisco hospital, he was treated by one of the region's leading back surgeons, one who happened to be there that day, and performed a one-of-a-kind surgery that enabled him to walk again. I mean, this is truly a God thing. Don't you think that God would put all this in this place for this to happen? They say his survival is remarkable and rare. He belongs to an extremely small group of survivors, fewer than 1%, with reports stating that only 34 to 39 known survivors since the bridge opened in 1937. He is uniquely the only known survivor to regain full physical mobility. He's known and recognized as a motivational speaker, sharing his stories at schools, conferences, media outlets. He has authored the best-selling memoir, Cracked But Not Broken: Surviving and Thriving After a Suicide Attempt. He wrote that book in 2013. He's just written another book, a children's book that is The Dimly Lit Star. The Dimly Lit Star. That sounds like a great book. He's also executive produced and directed the documentary Suicide, The Ripple Effect, which won awards, including Best Story at the Nice International Film Festival in 2018. He was co-founder of the Kevin and Margaret Hines Foundation. Margaret Hines is his wife, and that funds education and suicide prevention efforts across the U.S. Advocated, but did not stop there, lobbied tirelessly for the suicide prevention net on the Golden Gate Bridge. His efforts culminated in real change when the net was completed in 2023. I remember reading about that story with the net that they put in, and what a big deal is. This is he was one of the huge advocates for this. He emotionally shared, "This is one of the most special days of my life upon seeing the first parts of the suicide prevention net being installed." So he's gotten lots of awards. He's a tremendous speaker. He's coming here to Greenwood. I would hope that you would go and listen to what he has to say. I am sad that we did not get him on the radio with us today, but hopefully, maybe we can get him on tomorrow morning. But if not, the most important thing for you to do is to go and hear him as a speaker and feel hopeful, and maybe learn some things about either your own life or about helping somebody help themselves. And again, let me give a huge shout out to our Pathway House right here. They deal with homelessness, but homelessness by getting to the root causes. And as even the story here of Kevin Hines being born into a family that had drug-addicted parents, and he spent a lot of his time in foster care. Those had to be some of the issues that he had, root causes of trauma. And so getting over that trauma, getting on with your life, putting it in its proper place so you can survive is most important, So I personally don't think as a nation we give enough help to those that need it, to mental health. And it's not just about giving somebody a pill. I'm just going to say this because every time I turn around, I just see people are on more and more medication so they can function. Getting somebody on a pill maybe to help them, but taking the hours of therapy to find out what is causing this and fixing that is the most important thing that we can do. And unfortunately, we don't put enough emphasis in this country. So, that's Kevin Hines. Tomorrow evening, 6:30 to 8:30 at the Abney Cultural Center. He will be at the Josephine B. Abney Cultural Center right there at Lander. Please go. Please support it. And I'm glad, even though we didn't have Kevin call in this morning, I am glad to be able to shed some light on this because I think it is that important. It is that important. So, we are now on Facebook Live. I may have recovered what I had said in the first part where we weren't Facebook Live. So, hopefully, we will capture all this and put it on Facebook, on the website tomorrow. It'll actually be up after this. Share and tell people about what is happening tomorrow evening. This is particularly important for somebody that feels broken. And I would highly recommend that if you feel broken, if you don't know what direction you're going, that you make it there. This is a free event. There is no charge to go to this. This is a free event. But understand this, even in the depths of darkness, all our lives have value. And somebody out there needs you in their life. So please get the help. Reach out, speak up. Don't let this opportunity slip away from you. I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. Now I am going to switch gears and talk about Saturday afternoon at the Greenwood Performing Arts Center. What an excellent, uplifting program was had at the Greenwood Performing Arts Center. I tell you what, I feel so blessed to have been able to be there, as 29 individuals that are veterans were presented and put in the Greenwood Hall of Heroes. You know, this year they did a little different direction. They had, our delegation, Billy Garrett, Daniel Gibson, and John McCravey speak at the event, as well as the County Council Chairman, Theo Lane. Each one of them contributed an important point about our veterans. From the fact that our veterans are economically very important, to the things that the legislature is doing for them to try to make things better here in South Carolina, to how important they are here in Greenwood. What a commitment the county and the city made to Greenwood by building that very special veteran center, which many of you, that if you're new to the area, would not even realize that was the old Greenwood Library. That's right. Now we got a new Greenwood Library, and so in fact, Carrie Bolt was the one that kept this, got that. Gary Bolt is the one who was the Veterans Affairs office that was at Park Plaza, which I happen to drive by Park Plaza. I don't think we're going to recognize it when they're finished. Looks like they're putting windows and really doing an upfit on that building. But anyways, Kerry was in a very small office there at Park Plaza, and he knew that the library was moving out, and he kept saying, we could use that building. Funny story about Ann Eller meeting Kerry Bolt. I had decided I wanted to talk to the Veterans Affairs officer and find out what was going on and yada yada. So I called him. I talked to him a couple of times, and finally he said to me, he goes, well, okay, I'll come on, but first you have to come by and see my office. I was like, well, okay. I had no idea whether it was a big office, a little office, or what it was. So I walk in there, and as I'm trying to make it in the door, around the corner, and back to his office, it's very tight in there. It was very, very tight, very, very small quarters. So he took me back there. I sat down in a chair where my knees bumped the front of the desk. That's how tight this little room was. And I looked at Carrie and I said, okay, you said you had something you wanted to show me. He goes, yeah, I did. I just wanted to meet you and see if you were for real. And so began a long relationship with Kerry Bolt as the building was refurbished, regentrified, rechanged up to what it is today. But that was the first time I met Kerry Bolt, was sitting in his office, and I said, so, what'd you want to show me? I just wanted to see if you were for real. Can't trust everybody, you know, Ann. And that was the beginning of Kerry Bolt, Ann Eller. He was on the show many times. I did help quite a bit in helping get things done and push things forward so they could. I mean, kind of a behind-the-scenes person. I don't mind telling you this. I was kind of a behind-the-scenes person, and am proud that the eagle that sits there on the pedestal right outside there, I had a big part in making sure that the county and the city came together to build this. This was back in a different time when things were different and it was a little easier to make things happen, but it did happen, and I had quite a bit to do with making that happen. And I am, to this day, forever proud every time I drive by and we see that eagle that is right there, God, family, and country engraved on it. It does my heart good to see that the city and the county came together on this to put that eagle there. After all, would it have been right to have it named by some other company or something? No, it was right that the county and the city came together with this. So, bottom line is that Saturday's afternoon's ceremony was very meaningful. Everybody contributed. The music was great. The patriotism that was in that room and the huge number of people that were there. I can tell you, as it was lightly raining Saturday morning, I was going, oh, I hope it's not going to influence what's going to happen, but I was afraid it was, and I was very pleasantly surprised to see the amount of people that were there to either spur on someone who was being inducted, but there were a lot of people that were there just because they knew they wanted to be there and show their support of these 29 veterans. So to all that were there on Saturday, thank you for being there. To all the veterans that have been inducted into the Greenwood Hall of Heroes, congratulations. It is the least of what we can do for you, but we hope it is an honor that you will treasure. And for the next year, their shadow boxes will be up there at the Veterans Hall of Heroes, the Veterans Center, where it houses the Veterans Hall of Heroes Museum. And for the next year, the 29 shadow boxes will be up there telling about the lives of each of these veterans. Some were posthumously, most of them were for living, but there were a few. 2 World War II vets were inducted into the Hall of Heroes. That was tremendous. And that any of them, I'm just pointing out the longevity of what we were dealing with there. So thank you, Rosalind Burke, the veterans of VSO, for putting this program together along with your staff. It certainly is a lot of work, but it was flawless and it was beautiful and it was full of patriotism. So to all that participated, from me, a thank you. And I hope that at some point you will go by and go through the museum, check out the museum, but while you're there, check out the 29 shadow boxes that tell the story of each of the 29 that were inducted into the Hall of Heroes. All right, so there's another thing that happened on Saturday. All right, Greenwood County is, now we'll go to trash talking. Okay, Greenwood County. Not really. Greenwood County is going ahead to expand our trash capabilities. Yes, it's true. Our trash is overrunning. We have too much trash in this town. We're a trashy place. So, actually, I think any place is. But if you've ever been out to the landfill itself, not to the places where you can drop it off, if you've ever been out to the landfill yourself, you know what I'm talking about. It is a huge endeavor. And they are now, the site takes in about 100,000 tons of waste from county residents each year. And I'm equally as sure that this past year with the hurricane that it's probably going to be a bigger number than that. So they are now working on, Greenwood County is digging deep literally to move forward on a 12-acre landfill expansion. It's designed to handle the county's trash for the next decade. This project is known as Cell 4, is the latest section of the landfill. It first opened in 1993 after the county closed its original dump. Each cell is essentially a giant line pit engineered to safely contain household waste. This new one, with room for 1.2 million tons of trash, carries a price tag of nearly $10 million, including construction, permitting, and environmental safeguards. And in the article that was in the Index Journal, they wanted to make sure that you knew that this is money that has been saved up. It is not. It is being totally paid for with money that has been put aside over the last few years. So they put aside roughly $1 million each year for 10 years to have the cash on hand, paid up front with no loans or bonds required. I think that's terrific. That's good planning. You know, that is planning. That is planning. One of the things that people talk about is having a strategic plan for the county. In this case, they planned ahead and they had the money, and we didn't have to ask Stephanie if we could take some money out of something. Although probably at some point they'll ask Stephanie if she can take the money out of something. But anyways, Stephanie, of course, is the treasurer. But the bottom line is that they were proactive on this. They knew we were going to have a lot of trash, and they have started work on this, so that is a good thing. I must tell you a little story about trash. Obviously, the story that I'm going to tell you is before they closed the original dump. Many of you know that Jeff and I owned Sharp Facets Gallery. When we started, we were on the bypass in Burton Plaza. That was back in 1984. Okay. And we had not had a retail store before we opened this retail store. So, we had a safe, we had everything that a jewelry store needs. And we were getting diamonds from Belgium. And we had a good connection over there. They were beautiful, they were affordable, people loved them, everything was really good. Okay. So one night, we had locked the safe, and I wasn't that good at opening the safe. We had locked the safe, and on my desk was a small box of diamonds. I would say probably a box that was maybe, 5 by 7, maybe and about 2 inches tall. Okay. And it had $50,000 worth of diamonds in it. And we wanted to go to dinner. And I didn't want to try to open the safe. So, in the past, in many years of being in this business, we at times, if we wanted to run out and we were doing a show, we were traveling, this type of thing, we would put the jewelry in the trash can and cover it up. And, if anything happened, we thought in our little minds that would be okay. So, and it was, we were very blessed. So on this particular night, I decided, I'll just put them in the trash can and we'll get them out in the morning. So I put them in the trash can. I think it was a Thursday. Didn't need those diamonds on Friday. Didn't think about those diamonds on Friday. And on Saturday, Jeff says to me, Ann, can you get those diamonds out of the safe? Let's see if we've got a diamond that would fit for this customer. I went and looked in the safe, and all of a sudden, it occurred to me they were in the trash. So, I went running to the trash to get the diamonds out of the trash. Only the young man that worked for us had dumped the trash. And of course, we had never said to go through the trash or anything. He just took the trash bag out, threw it in with the other bags, and took it out. So by this time, Saturday, was it Saturday? I think it was a Saturday. I really think it was a Saturday. I could be wrong. Anyways, or maybe it was a Friday. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was a Friday. And the trash truck, so I go out and I go, well, that's okay. That's okay. I'll go out to the dumpster and get it out of the dumpster. So I look in the dumpster and it's totally clean. Totally clean. The trash truck had been there half an hour before. So without saying a word, I said, I can't find them right now. I walked out the building, took the car keys, and went to the dump. And I started asking where the trash truck was that would have been on the bypass route. Well, eventually somebody told me where it would be. And I explained to him that I had lost something very valuable and I need to go to the trash. This, I think, was, if it wasn't 84, it was 85. Maybe it was 85, something like that. So I looked at the trash. And I looked at the fact that there was $50,000 worth of diamonds somewhere out there. By this time, Jeff is wondering where I'm at. And of course, this was before I had a cell phone. So since I wasn't coming back, and Jeff was wondering where I was, I called him and I said, I can't tell you what I've done, but the diamonds are missing. And he goes, just come on back. I said, I can't. I was at a payphone. I think it was at the payphone right there at the corner of the, right up there between, right over across the street from Food Lion at that 7-Eleven place. So I was there talking on the phone, and he goes, just come on back in. It's not that bad. We'll get it. We'll get it. I was like, no, it's that bad. I got to get out of here. I got to go to the dump. So I go to the dump, and I find a place where the guy would have dumped the trash that was on that truck. Well, being the optimistic person that I am, they said I could go look and see if I could find my bags. Do you know how many white bags were in that truck? Do you know that I gave up after a while? The stench, the needles, the disgustingness of all of this just overwhelmed me. And I could not find the diamonds. So I gave up, came home, and cried me a river. And spent the next year and a half paying for $50,000 worth of diamonds without having the diamonds to sell. Not many people know this story because it was a huge embarrassment. But at this point of my life, who cares? Right? But at that point of my life, it was the most humiliating thing I could have ever done. And after that, we instigated a policy that every trash bag that went out of Sharp Facets was to be gone through to make sure there was nothing, and I mean nothing of any value in that bag. If you're in the jewelry business, stuff happens, even if you are the most careful of people. That is my story of a horrible, horrible time in my life. But I did survive, and we were able to make it. And those beautiful diamonds are somewhere in the landfill, the dump that has been closed, I am sure. Still brings me down a lot to think about it. Because we worked very hard for the next year and a half, probably 2 years, trying to recoup and still stay in business and still come up with a way to make things work. It was devastating to our lives, but somehow we continued and made it. Anyways, I'm Ann Eller. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, what else have we got here this morning? We've got people commenting about stuff out there. My Supremo texter said, sounds like the Kevin Hines was the $6 million man. Yes, he was the $6 million man. And somebody else said it was a God wink when his life was saved. When his life was saved, that is true. He is in control. We're just along for his ride. Well, that is true. So, anyways, to bring this back around, Kevin Hines is going to be at Lander University tomorrow evening, 6:30 to 8:30. He is brought to you by Here for a Reason, and it's sponsored by Lander Wellness Center and the Office of the Dean of Students. This would be an excellent opportunity for anyone because we all know somebody that is suffering. And I think we as individuals would like to know how to help if there is help that we can give to somebody that we know is suffering. If you yourself are suffering from mental anguish, feel that your life isn't worthwhile, I highly recommend you go hear this guy. He is inspirational and he is there for you. As I've said, he's written books. He also has a crisis helpline. So please go there. It costs you nothing to go, nothing but your time. 6:30 to 8:30 tomorrow evening over there at the Josephine B. Abney Cultural Center. Plenty of room for everybody. Come out and hear his story. I wish we could have brought you his story here today, but I hope I've done it somewhat justice in you understanding what type of program this is, how great it is that Here for a Reason is bringing this to you. And I hope that you will find out more about mental health, and I hope that you would help push our legislators, whether here in the state or on the federal level. We need to do more for mental health. A lot of this problem with homelessness would be solved if we could get the mental health aspects of life right. So please check that out. Please come and please hear his story tomorrow evening at 6:30 at Lander University. Here for a Reason is a foundation right here in Greenwood. It's a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to suicide prevention and mental wellness, serving Greenwood, South Carolina. And we need to make this something that it's not a stigma. It is something that the sunshine does cure all. So please come out and support this very worthy event tomorrow evening, 6:30 to 8:30. You will not be disappointed you came. You will not be disappointed that you walked away with some information that may help you save somebody else's life. So please do that. All right, for me, Ann Eller, what else do I have this morning? Well, I should tell you this. I should. You know, we are starting to be inundated in the state of South Carolina on these governor people. These governor people. That's right. They are everywhere. And God, what did I see? I thought I had shared that. Let's see. Maybe it's still here. There is a event, I believe, over in Lawrence. Is it this evening? They're having a barbecue, and Alan Wilson. This I am doing from memory. I just read it a little while ago. Let's see. Alan Wilson is going to be in Lawrence this evening for an event. I believe it's a barbecue. It is the Lawrence Republican Party that will be having that. Also, today, Nancy Mace is going scorched earth over there in Greenville with a town, I guess it's a town hall. She'll also be at the Women's Republican in Spartanburg. If you're interested in any of those, please check those out. It is time for us to know information about all the candidates. You know, right now, Nancy Mace is leading the pack as far as governor If you like Nancy Mace, well, that's great. If you're not that wild about Nancy Mace, then maybe you should get educated on the other candidates out there. I certainly hope that we will have all the candidates coming through here to Greenwood for various events. I'm certainly going to make a big effort to have all of these candidates right here on WCRS, because I believe in one thing: knowledge is king. I believe the people can make up their own minds. We need to let the people make up their own minds. Regardless of my personal preferences, your personal preferences, everybody needs to have the opportunity to be heard, and WCRS definitely agrees in that. So we will be having all the candidates on. We've actually had Alan Wilson. We've, of course, had Pamela Evett. We're reaching out to Nancy Mace, and Josh Kimbrell is, I don't know what's going to happen with Josh Kimbrell, but he is, of course, the one that has a lawsuit going on. Who else do we have? Norman, and there's one other. Oh, Lord, I've forgotten. Anyways, we've got lots of candidates running, and who knows who else is going to get in. You know, it's really early. They can't officially sign to March, which is rather interesting, because I guess if I decided, well, I don't think I'm going to make it, I can drop out and I can maybe keep my own seat. Although now people are jumping into, for Nancy Mace's, for Norman's seat, people are starting to jump in. Alan Wilson has challengers to his seat. By the way, Alan Wilson, Pasco, who was a Democrat, changed to Republican and is now running for the state's for Attorney General for South Carolina, which is rather interesting, don't you think? All right, I'm going to give it up. I will be back in the morning. Check out some of that information. Kevin Hines tomorrow evening. And again, if you'd like to go and see who is going to be on the route up here in South Carolina, I know Nancy Mace is this afternoon. 3 o'clock is the one event, and I don't know, the other one is at 6 or 7. She'll be in Greenville at 3 o'clock. It's going to be interesting times. And that's what I love, is being involved in the middle of it right here on WCRS Radio. So that's going to do it for me. This is WCRS Radio. You've been listening to me, Ann Eller, right here. And I hope you have a great day and enjoy this glorious day that we have been given. For me and Penny and all of you out there, thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye-bye, everybody.